Joining us here on D11sports.com today, new head coach at Allen High School in Darnell Braswell, new athletic director at Allen High School in Randy Atiyeh, also our D11sports.com color analyst for basketball games, Tommy Moser. Guys, thanks a lot for spending some part of your day with us today. And obviously it's an exciting time, a new regime starting at Allen High School with Scott Cooperman retiring, Doug Snyder retiring. And Randy, I'll start with you. Randy, you're the new athletic director and you have a new basketball coach. You've been part of the Allen program for so long. What does this mean to you?
Al, it means a lot. Allen's a place that I have grown professionally. It's really where I feel like I've started out in my career here. And so many people that I've come across that worked here have just poured into me and just given me so much. So for me to be able to learn from so many different people here at Allen High School, different leaders that I've worked with and worked for, and now to be able to use some of that and give back in another way, in another capacities, is something that I look forward to. I'm excited about. This is a journey that I can't wait to get started.
And Darnell, you are the new basketball coach, and you're taking over for some guy. I guess he has experience. This guy, is a mentor of yours, and Doug Snyder, and you've had John Domoyer, Miles Swords, so many unbelievable coaches. What does this mean to you to be the new head coach at William Allen High School?
It's a tremendous honor. Obviously Allen is a high school of strong tradition, and legacy. And, for me to follow the footsteps of a guy who's been involved in Allen basketball in the Allentown community for so many years, it means a lot to me. It's a tremendous honor, and I'm looking forward to getting started.
Now, you're 31 years old. When we interviewed Scott Cooperman and Doug Snyder last week, he said you have something to fulfill. Everybody's going for 22 years, so you got to be there for 22 more years at least 20. So at that time, you'll probably be my age at that time. So you got 20 years in you?
I'm in it for the long haul, man. I'm in it for the long haul. So that's the goal, and we'll see what happens from there. But, I'm going into it with that mindset,
Tom, these guys pretty well. Seeing them take over a program that has been so successful, what can you say about these two?
Well, I do know them well. I consider them both very good friends. I played with them, against them, coached against them, recruited against them, done all kind of things with them and against them. So, there's probably not a better tandem. And I actually texted Randy this when you did your interview with Cooperman and Snyder last week. And I said, well, here we go. You and Darnell, you're going to be in there, and you just followed up with this. You're going to be there for 20 plus years. Hopefully that's the mindset that they have, that they want to do that, because, with the school the size and with the prestige of Allen, there were no shortage of applicants for these jobs. So, these two had to come very highly recommended, and they have good resumes. They were given jobs for a reason. That's because people in position of power figured that they were going to do a very good job. And I think that's what we're all expecting them to do.
Randy, as you take this position, and you, like we mentioned before, what kind of athletic director do you see yourself being? Who is Randy Atiyeh? A lot of people know you from outside, but who are you, and what can we expect from you as athletic director?
Al, I'm in my role as assistant principal and dean of students the last few years. Everybody that works in the building can tell you I'm active. I'm out in the hallways. I'm in the classrooms. I'm in the cafeterias. So I'm not just an athletic director that's going to sit in an office and do scheduling all day. I'm going to be hands-on. I'm going to be talking with kids, interacting. That's just who I am. I'm a people person. I want to be around people. I want to build relationships with people. So that's really who I am at my core. And I think that even in this new role, that's still who I'm going to be. I'm going to try to get as many kids participating in as many sports as possible. I've seen just the benefits that it is when students are participating, when they're involved in something positive and they can attach themselves to that. That's really what it's all about. And that's what really truly gets our kids aligned with positivity and starting to think the right way.
Darnell, on top of that, your relationship with Randy, how important is that to you, as you become the new head coach? Sometimes, people get a job and they're not secure with who they're working with, but being that you know him and you know him so well, how important is that to you as you move forward in your new career path?
I mean, it's going to play a vital role. You know, Randy is a guy that, you know, we've gotten close to over the last 4 or 5 years, you know, just with his affiliation to the Allen basketball program. So it's going to be crucial, and it's going to be a huge part of, you know, my time at the head coach position. He's been great, you know, thus far, and he's going to continue to be that way for me. He's a guy I can go and bounce ideas off of. He's a guy that, you know, cares deeply about the program and cares about these kids. And to me, you know, him and I are on the same page, and that's going to carry us, you know, into great feats, you know, in the future moving forward.
St. Luke's Pediatrics delivers the care you expect for your child, now and for their future. Choose a St. Luke's pediatrician today.
I asked Randy this question. I'll ask you the same question. Type of coach you're going to be. I mean, you got coached from, you know, Doug Snyder, Scott Cooperman the last 5 years, you know, a great mentor there for you. You coached under Dennis Senses at Central Catholic. You've been around a lot of different coaches. What kind of style are we going with? You're going to be, you know, real slow, or you're going, or what? You know, Alan's about going. Are you going?
Yeah, we're gonna run. You know, I mean, I'm fortunate enough to be inheriting a great group of guards. You know, some guys that I've been able to watch over the past 2-3 seasons, and guys that I've seen in the local YMCA's or gyms, you know, just working out and doing what they love to do. So I'll be a fool if I get on here and say we're not going to play fast, you know, but there's a time and place for everything. So, you know, that's still being worked out. You know, I'm working on watching film and, you know, finalizing my staff and, you know, just finding a way how I can put these kids in position to succeed on the basketball court. But, you know, looking at the skill set of the guys who are coming back, who have, you know, played key moments, you know, for the championship teams over the past couple seasons, you know, I got to let those guys go. You know, I got to let them run and be who they are and utilize their skill sets. And it's up to me to find out how they can fit together and, you know, how I can help them reach the heights that they want to. But, you know, that's a staple of the Allen basketball community. We're definitely going to run and get out, you know, when we can, for sure.
So Tommy always has good words, you know, while he has people on a screen like this in Zoom, but in person, you know, when he's broadcasting games, sometimes he can be lethal. So, you know, Tommy, first things first, if you want to fire some questions at, you know, both Randy and Darnell, you know, now, and then we'll see what you say, you know, in December and January.
Yeah, I'll hear it later on in a few months, but well, I'll hit Darnell up first. So, I mean, one of the things that people talk, and Doug, you know, one of the most legendary coaches in the area, one of the things that always gets associated with Doug is not only his accolades and his record on the court, but his job as a mentor to the student athletes that you guys had there at William Allen. So, I mean, did you learn, are you plan, obviously you're not going to be exactly the same as Doug was with the players, but I mean, that has to be a big part of what you're planning on taking on as a head coach.
I mean, that's just a huge piece of it. That's why I am where I'm at today, you know, the mentorship program that he, you know, put me into when I was a sophomore in high school with Jeff Blue, who to this day is a guy, you know, I can lean on heavily. But to me, I'm going to be around for my players. That's the most important thing, building a relationship, building a connection with those guys where they are comfortable enough to come to me with anything. You know, to me, once you can build that foundation, basketball will take care of itself, you know. So to me, the most important thing is, you know, letting these kids know that I'm here for them, you know, that I have their best interests at heart, and however long that takes to get, you know, that's going to be my focus, my main focus going into it.
You know, I think every coach, most coaches say that. I don't think every coach follows through with that. So I'm fairly certain, knowing Darnell the way I do, that he's going to follow through with that. And now when you asked Randy this, you know, it's funny. One of my things to him was going to be, I've seen Randy wear so many different hats as not just a basketball coach, you know, and a great assistant for Doug, but you know, out in the community, you know, doing a little bit of, you know, as a township supervisor for Whitehall, you know, obviously running the throwdown in the summer, and I see him interacting with non-basketball players, whether they're Allen students or not, and seeing how well he does with that hits exactly as to his point of him trying, and probably successfully so, to get as many students out as he can. So, I mean, Randy, let's face it, you know, basketball is the most powerful sport there at Allen. You know, you have goals to get the other sports where boys basketball is. I mean, you know, you got to bring in ringers like Darnell as coaches as some of the other sports, I guess. But I mean, I guess that's your long-term goal, right?
Yeah, absolutely, Tommy. I think one of the things that we're looking at now is how do we get more participation in our other sports. And one of the things that we have to do is we have to listen. We have to listen to our students. We have to listen to our parents and find out what are some of the barriers, what's stopping our kids from coming out, and seeing what resources we have as a community to try to, put those barriers aside and remove them so that we can get more participation from our kids. And whether that's changing schedules around or whatever it is. I mean, that's stuff that I plan to really look at closely and try to figure out what we can do as a school, as a community, to figure out how we can get more kids involved in the variety of sports. Because, an Allen Open gym is going to have, hundreds of kids and it's going to be jam-packed, but, it's not necessarily the case for some of our other sports. I will say we have a great coaching staff across the board in our athletic program, and just trying to work with them to continue to build. I think there's some good things happening, and I look forward to it.
Randy, you just started a Twitter account for the athletic department. Again, Tommy mentioned it. I mentioned it. Darnell, you're social. You want to be out there. How important is to have that that you can deliver something to the community that quick?
Yeah, I think it's huge. Social media, and just look at the times we're in. Look what we're doing right now. We're sitting here Zooming in an interview. I mean, we have to be able to change with the times. And I've looked at a lot of successful programs and the way that they really market their program. And that's huge. I think that's something we have to do. Obviously, there's a rich tradition and a legacy here at Allen High School. And not that we're totally changing things, but we want to build on that and kind of rebrand ourselves in a way, but also still respect and keep the traditions and the legacy here at Allen High School, but just continue to move forward and build on that. So yeah, we're trying to do everything we can to rebrand and market ourselves here so that people know about Allen High School and the Canary Nation.
Darnell, what will you take from, or will you talk to Doug Snyder on a weekly basis, on a nightly basis, and get some thoughts? Will he reach out to you? I know when we talk to him, he's like, he's going to be around the game of basketball regardless. And he already said he would love to sit in the stands and who's that head coach and watch that head coach succeed. What will you take from him, and will you reach out to him when you need to?
Him and I had a conversation, not too long ago. But to me, that man deserves to ride off in the sunset and do whatever he wants to do. I know if the time, warrants where I need some serious advice and guidance, I can reach out to him. But, he retired for a reason, and I want him to enjoy his free time and his space. And, I'll use that resource whenever I need, but I'm not gonna do it on a weekly basis or, try to get his input on every little thing. I'm gonna let him enjoy his time with his wife. And, whenever the time comes where I feel the need, I need to reach out to him, I will do so. But, I owe that man, a lot, and he deserves to enjoy his free time with his wife. He done so much over the past 23 years, taking kids to camps and AAU practices and clinics and all this other things, working the NBA camps where, it's time for him to enjoy his free time. And I'm going to respect that and, grant him that.
So you're hurting. Is it your back or your knee? Get the rehabilitation you need. We're in your neighborhood. Call Physical Therapy at St. Luke's.
Seeing Nigel Long get the job at Liberty High School, Marlon Randall getting the job at Deer High School, a couple new head coaches in the East Penn Conference. Are you excited about that?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I think this is something, bigger than myself and bigger than, all three of us, all three of the guys that you mentioned. This is something that provides hope for guys in the inner cities, to see that, okay, this is a possibility. A guy can come from, some backgrounds that I did. Nigel background is different than mine, but, it doesn't change the color of his skin, So it just provides a barrier for guys who, probably didn't think that was possible growing up and seeing all the other people who've been in the position of head coaches out here in the area. So it's definitely an opportunity that, I know all three of us are excited to have, and, we're going to put our best foot forward to try to make a good mark on the community.
Guys, I'll get your final thoughts before I let you go. I'll start with Randy, then Darnell, and then Tommy. With no summer basketball tournaments at this point happening, how does that hinder the progress of your basketball team, moving forward? I know once you get in, you're going to get in and go, but, summer league basketball is such a huge part of what happens into the winter. Randy, I'll start with you on that question, and if you want to add anything else, and then we'll go to Darnell.
Yeah, I mean, I know for a lot of our kids, aside from just the summer tournaments, I mean, even think of just the parks. You know, most of our kids don't even have a playground or a park to go play at that they normally would over the summertime. And that's huge for us, especially in an inner city school. Our kids would be down at Cedar Beach every day playing or any park in Allentown. I mean, that's just what they do. And so, I've tried to be creative in finding ways to keep them, active and sending them stuff. We've developed a Google Classroom, not just for our basketball team, but for the athletic program as a whole, where we just try to send them different things to stay active and stay healthy. But again, yeah, it's tough when you look around and you see that there's no sports really going on right now. You wonder what challenges that's going to bring later. You also wonder the mental health issues that come with that. A lot of our kids use sports as a release, and for them to not have that is a difficult thing. So, we're looking forward to hopefully reopening things soon in the near future, and we'll see what happens.
I mean, he touched on it, basketball means a lot, for our guys. That's something that they love to do and they constantly play. It's therapeutic, I mean? It gets them away from some of the things that they face in their life. So to not have that, is a struggle. And, for me, taking over a program, summer league games would have been a nice time for me to find ways to see who complements one another, different combinations, see people live, and different things along those lines. So it's not the best time for me to be taking over a program, but, that's just the way it works. That's life, and you got to deal with the adversity that you're dealt with. And, I have film to watch, and, I can get a little background, information from that. And, when the fall comes around or when this pandemic is lifted and the guys can return to playing basketball, we'll move forward in the process and start, to build our program that way.
I mean, I was going to ask what the next 2 or 3 months look like. Obviously, you guys can't get done what you need to get done. I think instead, I just want to focus on, last week we had Nigel on, this week we have Darnell on. These two young men are just wise beyond their years. And so, it's a new exciting time in our area for basketball. You can see why our area is one of the best in Northeast Mid-Atlantic United States, not just Pennsylvania. Randy, with some of his answers, he's got a proactive attitude, looking to make some changes, not just for the basketball program, but for the entire athletic program and the schools in there at William Allen High School. So, unfortunately, as both of those young men said, we're going through something here that's affecting everybody. But once it's over, I think I'm excited, as a lot of other people are, to see what they have in store for us at Allen High School.
Tommy, before I let you go, busy time for you with newborn, not so newborn anymore, a couple months old. How's that going?
So she's 10 weeks old today. She's doing great. We were afraid that she was going to start crying here during the call, but she behaves well. Her mom's in there, and actually we have a visitor. Her grandmother is here. We finally had a visitor yesterday for the first time in 10 weeks. So we put her on camera, but I don't want to. We're not going to do that yet. We'll have to wait a little while till we get her on camera. So, but she's doing great. Mom's doing great, and it's a lot of good time with her. That's for sure.
Well, it looks like you're getting a little.
Congrats.
Thanks, Darnell. Thank you.
Thanks, it looks like you're getting a little sleep. Guys, thanks a lot for taking some time with us. We wish you the very best of luck. And I'm the first guy to tell you this, and I said this to Darnell before we went on. Darnell's one of my favorite players, out there. And, being that my favorite coach of all time, is Doug Snyder, that kind of helps things out at the same time. And Randy, I've known you for a while. And, I know that as we get towards not only the next couple of months, but into, December, January, February, and March. It's going to be exciting times at William Allen High School. Appreciate all of you guys joining us here on D11sports.com.
Thanks for having us, Al.
Thanks for having us.
Guys, good luck. We'll talk soon.
Tommy, good
Thank
seeing
you. Take care.
You too, guys.
All right, later.
Guys, have a great day.